Good evening. Welcome to Mind and Manna Thursday Night Live. I'm Sonia Folayan, and welcome to my channel, Mind and Manna. Here we talk about all things related to, um, we actually center the voices of Black women, uh, 55 and older, who are interested in improving their finances so that they can level up to a more intentional way of life that includes freedom, rest, travel, and ease. And we also talk about moving abroad, setting up financial goals, creating multiple streams of income, and of course, looking at ways to move abroad and to do so that we can thrive. Uh, if you are not familiar with this channel, I would encourage you to please, if you like what you hear tonight, and if you see any of the videos that I've already produced, if you like any of those or the content, please do like, subscribe, share, and comment. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a really important topic in terms of moving abroad. It's a very normal topic, but I notice in a lot of the chats and a lot of discussions that there is not a lot of positive regard for a very normal process, which is having ambivalence about making such a major move. Making a move abroad is a big decision for anyone. And it's very normal to have conflicting feelings about it. And so tonight, I wanted to bring on to camera uh, a good friend of mine, and her name is Yannah Evans. I have just enjoyed learning about her so much. Yannah has supported us in our Jumpstart Your Sojourn retreat. She's an amazing artist. She has so much wisdom. She's out there in California, and she's on the cliff, on the precipice of a cliff, getting ready to make some major decisions. So I'm going to have her introduce herself to you right now so that we can get on with this discussion. And Yannah, I'm giving the floor to you. Let us know who you are.
Hello, good evening or morning or whenever you watch this show. My name's Yannah, and I'm an artist. I'm retired. I retired, 2021 from the California Department of Education. I was a consultant with the department and had interesting 20 years there. And I knew when I hit 20, I would get my benefits pretty much free, lifetime and a pension. So I know some people will work until 35, 40 years, which to me is ridiculous. But I started late. I was about 40 when I started working for the state. Um, so, but I'm happy that I got what I got. Some people say jump without. I'm glad I waited, and I have a pension and Social Security and those kinds of good things. So I've traveled to Mexico. In fact, this past year, the end of last year, and I don't know why, but I just kept going to Mexico. I've gone to Costa Rica. I've been to the Caribbean. I have not been over the pond. I have yet to go to Europe. Um, but I like staying, I like on this hemisphere, this side of the world. Um, so I enjoy traveling. It's so much fun. And I'm going to tell you, it's even more fun when you travel first class on a plane. It's wonderful. But that's a little bit about me. I'm married. I have a daughter who's she'll be 26 next week. Yay! And a dog, and that's going to be important in this story as we continue on. So I think that's about enough about me.
Well, you obviously have done a lot of traveling, and you have, as you said, you've been to Mexico quite a few times, even in this last year. What has it been about Mexico that has drawn you?
First, Mexico's not that far away. I'm in California, so Mexico is not extremely far. I will say last year I traveled to Israel. That was far. Oh, I guess I have gone over the pond. Yeah, I have. I went to Israel, the Middle East, and that trip on that plane was miserable.
Hmm.
But the little jump to Mexico wasn't that bad. It's about 3, 4 hours or so, and it's doable. Not to say long term is not doable, but it was more comfortable and bearable. Mexico is, living in California. There's a lot of Spanish, and I took Spanish in junior high, high school. I am not fluent at all because I'm not immersed in Spanish. But when I do travel, I enjoy using my Spanish as much as I can, talking to waiters and other service people, cab drivers, and so forth. Um, I don't know. Mexico, I would say as a child, I went to Mexico to like Tijuana. I
Mm-hmm.
never want to go back to Mexico again. And I've gone on like those quick carnival cruises where you go to Ensenada and get off. Those were not fun either. But
Mm-hmm.
I think going to my first time I really liked Mexico was going to Puerto Vallarta some maybe 10, 15 years ago at a resort. Now, that was a resort. It was fun. It was nice. But lately, I have been going to Mexico, being around the people, not doing the resort. So my accommodations were not luxurious,
Mm-hmm.
except I did go to Puerto Vallarta again in December, this past December, and I was at uh, Bidanda, which is in Nayarit, which is right next door to Puerto Vallarta, and it was like a Disneyland. It was so phony. This is my opinion. Some people love resorts. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it was too Disneylandish. I'm not a fan of Disneyland, as
Mm-hmm.
you can tell. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just so phony. My sister and I got off, we had to figure out how to get off the property. It's huge. And we did, and we started walking around town because we were looking for a masseuse. Uh, there was this place we got a free ticket for a massage. And it was it was fun walking down the street. We got a little lost, but it was fun being around people. I had to ask somebody directions. Donde está? I'm showing the little paper, the address, and you know, it was fun. I don't know. I just felt like you could talk to people and not feel bad, and they're not looking at you like you're crazy. Yes, there's not a lot of black people, black Americans for sure in Mexico, at least where I was walking around, but um, but the people are very friendly and helpful. When you need some help, they'll help you. This was someone in front of their driveway, and we asked for assistance, and that's what I like. I found that when you're around the people in Mexico, they're very friendly, very nice. Um, for the most part, I'm sure there's some bad apples somewhere, but I just don't really. I haven't come across them. Keep that vibration high so that you
Yeah.
attract what you want.
I think
So
that's one thing that we hear a lot. I know that's my experience too, is just how friendly people are and how open they are and how willing they are to help. That is
yes.
it's refreshing, and but it's part of the culture, and it's a wonderful thing.
So I became more and more in love with Mexico, especially when I was more in the city. It's I mean more with the people, not the
Mhm.
resorts, but more with the people. I just started liking it more. It's not like the U.S. The infrastructure is rough. The plumbing system and different. The streets are not paved like in the U.S. Here, at least like not in California. Um,
Mhm.
Nice sidewalks and stuff, and you got dogs all over the place. And
Mhm.
but that didn't bother me. That really didn't bother me. I remember I was told, be careful because there's cobblestones all over the place. You got to be careful how you walk, or you could twist your ankle or break it. Yeah, there's a lot of cobblestones. And at the time, I needed a hip replacement, and I was in pain, but I was still able to get along. I didn't trip or fall. I was fine. I had my sister friends helping me out, so
Mhm.
it was great. So I don't know. I like the color. Being an artist, I just like the color of Mexico. Like the different homes and the murals. Oh, I
The
don't know if this
murals.
is another topic later on. The art. I just love the art. It's not graffiti. You see murals, which are beautiful and it's breathtaking. And just all the colors. They use a lot of the colors. The Mexican culture, the Mexican people or artists use a lot of the colors that I like. Lots of oranges and blues and bright greens and things like that. So I, I'm a
I
fan.
think I think also, I've been away for a while, and when I when I left, the rainy season hadn't started yet, but the rainy season has started now. So everything is green and luscious. But even in the dry season, I'm amazed by just the flora, the raucous colors of the flowers and the trees and the bushes. And I know that the landscape and the houses and the paintings reflect a lot of the colors of nature because it's just vibrant everywhere.
Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely would agree with that. So I I just really it just seems picturesque to me. I can see myself in that environment. As I said, I also went to Costa Rica, and that
Mhm.
was also it was a yoga retreat,
Mhm.
a holistic retreat. So the accommodations were not apartment. I mean, not apartment, hotel style. It wasn't not a hotel at all. It was kind of roughing it a little bit,
Mhm.
slightly. I mean, we were indoors, but it was not it, but it was quaint. It was so quaint. So all these places I go to didn't have a TV, except I did have a TV in Chapala and Ajijic. But for the most part, a lot of the places I've been to, when I went to Teotihuacan, no TV in the room, and you don't need it because you're
Right.
spending so much time. We had lessons, we had other things. We were busy visiting the pyramids, and you just want to go back home. I mean, you go back to your room and just go to sleep.
Yes.
So
So so you talked a little bit about an affinity toward Mexico because of the location, number one. Also the language. I think you've also invested in Spanish language, haven't you? Spanish
I
lessons?
have, I have. Blooming in Spanish is the name of the program I've taken. It's by Kim Ann, and it is a wonderful, wonderful program. She speaks Spanish. She's a woman of color. She's a black woman from
Mhm.
LA, so I can relate. She's from
Mhm.
California also. But she's very patient, and she does a lot of conversational Spanish. It's not like conjugating the verbs. That's the one thing, in
Mhm.
school, that's what you did, is conjugate verbs all day long. But we
Yes.
have conversations, we talk, we have, she has videos of what, speaking to a cab driver, speaking to a chauffeur, or, there are different scenarios that you could come across in real life, speaking at a cafe, a restaurant, a store, so you learn to say certain words, that you want a large drink, you say, you know, tengo un bebida grande or something.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
rusty. I haven't practiced for a little bit, but it's good. It was helpful, especially learning your numbers. Oh my gosh, she'll she'll give me a gold star for saying this, but learn those numbers because you're always gonna have some type of exchange. You're gonna pay for
Oh,
something, and
absolutely.
they say it fast. It's like, and sometimes I'm like I couldn't hear it, and so it's like
Yes.
show me the number, show me, So it's like okay, I got it, and sometimes I get it, and sometimes it's like, was that 50 or 15?
Right. Right.
So, but it's just practice, practice, practice. So, Sonia, I know you must. It's easier for you because you're in the environment all the time. So,
It does make a difference. I took Spanish all through high school and college, but I have to say what really I have to give my grandfather, I have to give him a gold star because he started speaking Spanish to me when I was a toddler, and so much of a lot of what he taught me I have retained. It has come and gone over the years, but I'm really amazed at how much comes back. Um,
that's
now
true.
that I'm an adult. And he was not a native Spanish speaker. He had to learn Spanish because in Kansas, he worked in the Santa Fe railroad shops, and a lot of the men he worked with were Mexican, and a lot of the men that he supervised were Mexican. So he had to learn the language, and he would come home and practice on me. And he told me when I was a little thing, you need to learn you need to learn this language. And I really I have to credit him for putting that spark in me. It's very important.
I guess one thing, what I noticed, a lot of Americans and Canadians go over to Mexico and don't want to. They expect everything to be catered to them like it is when they're in their native
Right,
land, and
right.
it's like, I mean, when you have restaurants change their menus and their offerings to accommodate these people, it's like, really? Come
It's a
on.
it's
Yeah.
a shame. It's really
Um,
it's a shame.
I saw a lot of, saw that in Ajijic because it's very, very uh, expat,
Yes.
expats for sure. So, but we made it work. It was fun. We still have some fun.
Well, I wanted to go over the word ambivalence. That's what we're talking about tonight. I wanted to go over the definition. It's the ambivalence means simultaneous and contradictory feelings or attitudes towards an object, a person, or an action. And it's characterized by continual fluctuation between choices and ideas. And also, it's characterized by uncertainty as to which approach to follow, which path to take, which decision to make, which one to choose. And I know that I wanted to ask you at this point in time, what has what has brought you to the point of considering moving abroad in your life? What how did you get to where that's even an option for you at this point in time?
Um, well, I will tell you, I watched a few videos of people who have made the transition to living abroad. And there was this one couple, oh, I forgot their names, but the woman moved to Panama
Mm-hmm.
and the husband stayed in the States. It's like, okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she wanted to live there and he didn't want to, but they visit each other, periodically. Um, I would just say home life is challenging, so it's nice to be elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, it's like I can see, I as I said, I'm an artist. I would like to just have a space, just a room, something small. I don't need a lot. Have a space where I could paint, and there's so much to paint, to that I could paint that's there. But also there's classes I could do. And right now I do online classes periodically, and so I
Mm-hmm.
could still do online classes in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, great. I would like to do that. I do what's called intentional creativity, and I'm getting off the off topic, but the ambivalent, mainly the home life right now for me is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Uh, I will say I'm been
Which
married
is
28
not
years.
which is not uncommon now, which is not uncommon that we get to, excuse me, I dropped some. We get to a point in life, and at midlife is a time for major decisions, major reevaluation. So that is you're absolutely on time in terms of that. It's a time of major transition.
My daughter's grown, just recently got a job, and she's new in her career, so she's on her own path, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to really worry about that. Luckily, she was living in New York. I have no family in New York. That in the bottom pit of my stomach that was bothering me, but it's like, okay, just pray for her. But then
Yeah.
she has come back. She got a job in San Francisco, which I feel so much more comfortable. I have family up and down the coast,
Uh-huh.
northern, southern California. So I felt so much more relieved that she's here and she has a job in California. But so I'm not really worried about her.
Okay.
Um, I do have a dad who's not in the best of health. He's diabetic, and it seems like there's some things getting a little worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, it's just me and my sister. We live here in the Sacramento area, and I don't want to just leave her by herself, taking care of my dad did remarry, so he does have his wife, but she needs a lot of help too. I mean,
Okay.
she's younger than he is, but it's a lot. He's a lot.
How old is
He's
how old is your
86. He's
father? Okay.
86.
Okay.
and he's kind of grumpy because there's a lot of changes. We're changing his diet. I just spoke with a nutritionist today with his wife, and he's not going to like the food, but we're trying to put some things that'll be nourishing to his body. You're used to 86 years eating whatever you wanted,
Right.
but
Right.
this just changes, and he's not the easiest with the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So we all need to be there to kind of support or intervene, in other
Mm-hmm.
words.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it helps to be there. And I don't want to leave, even though my sister would understands. And she said, well, just leave, just make sure there's a place for me to stay when I come visit you. So she's excited if when I do make that decision to leave, she has a place to come visit, which I would be very excited for her to come visit me. But I know you hear on some of the YouTube sessions, people just up and leave and they're gone. I just can't do that with my dad. I not right at this point in time. And also, I have an older dog. People may
Okay.
not, if you're not an animal lover, close your ears. But my dog just turned 16 years old, and she's
16?
16.
Wow.
She's a little miniature dachshund, and she's deaf. She can't see that well, and she's got issues. And so she's never flown on a plane, so I don't think I could put her in her position. I think it would be hard to put her on a plane. Um, so nobody really wants to watch her because like an old person, she has accidents periodically. She
Yeah.
does, it's like sometimes she can't help it. If you're not paying attention, she ain't waiting.
Right.
So it's a little difficult sometimes to find someone to watch. I call these Rover, and I found some people that would watch her. My sister did until my dog started having more accidents. She's like, nah,
Yeah.
don't mess up my new carpet. Don't. So that's hard because she's not an easy dog to watch. It takes a special person who would be able to watch her. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds crazy. It's like I wouldn't stop my life because of a dog, but it's two things. If it wasn't, my dog, my dad. So that keeps me from making that jump and just saying, and plus I am still married, so that would have to be a discussion too.
Right.
However that goes. Yeah. So
Right.
I think I
So,
would like to try doing something like maybe stay gone for about a month,
mm-hmm.
see what that's like. I've been gone only like a week. Every time I've gone, I've only been gone a week. But to
Okay.
maybe be gone for a month just to get a feel, to see what it's like, feel like, and then who knows, maybe take it on further. I did try for an artist program, which I did not get accepted for, and it would have been a
Mm-hmm.
month in Mexico. But
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of looking forward to that to see what it would be like, see what would happen. But that didn't happen.
Well, as brilliant as you are, I
So
know there will be other
okay, I
opportunities.
see that Sonia's frozen.
Okay. So I'm going to keep talking.
Thank you.
Am I still frozen? Am I still frozen?
No, you're not frozen now.
Okay.
Yes, you're good.
As brilliant
No.
as you are, I have no doubt that there will be other artist residencies that you will participate in because your art is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, one thing I have thought about is like, why don't I just go ahead and get my residency and be
Mm-hmm.
ready? You know, I don't know how that all works out. I have to do more research, but maybe just still work on my residency. I know a lot of people right now are looking at getting out of the U.S. because of the political climate.
Yes.
Um, it's going to be chaos. I think either way it goes. Um, I'm you know I'm not going to let that scare me. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I would like to be somewhere else and not deal with the the, the craziness. But uh, I tend
It's
not to really get too excited about it because we talked about. I said it earlier. Your vibration's
yes.
high. You're going to attract that. I don't care if it's a Trump person or a Harris person. You know, if you're friendly, kind, and thoughtful, they'll reciprocate for the most part. I don't put myself in those dangerous protest situations. So I'm too old. I think in my younger days, yes, I would have probably been out there protesting, but I don't see the need to do that anymore.
Is the shifting political climate, does that have is that a factor in any way, any small way, any major way, in terms of another reason that you're considering living abroad? Is that at all a factor in any case?
Um, Very little. I don't think that's like a major factor. It is. It would be nice to live somewhere else and not deal with the noise, the
Mm-hmm.
noise of our political system. As I've told some of my close friends, I believe the U.S. is going to eventually implode upon itself
Mm-hmm.
because it has not done right by the people they've harmed. They have never apologized. They've never. So it's getting to a point where it's a powder keg. It's ready to
Mm-hmm.
explode. And I think that will probably happen. People, it's interesting. People talk about, oh, you're going to Mexico? They got the cartels over there. Well, who do you think funds the cartels? Who do you
Right.
think starts all that stuff? USA.
Yeah.
We're the ones who cause it. And if you think about it, the USA is the most dangerous place, has the most guns than any other place that you can think
Oh
of.
gosh. Absolutely.
It's
I know.
it's more dangerous.
I know. When you were here, did you have um, how would you describe the sense of safety and security that you had? The reason I'm asking you that is because I know um, I just came back from uh, three major US cities, the last one being Chicago. I love Chicago, especially in the summertime, but I know I'm very cautious now about being out in large crowds because I don't know who has a gun.
Exactly.
Whereas here, I I don't have that same. People aren't walking around strapped. The gun laws are different here. Um, it's a different environment in terms of that.
I will tell you just a funny little story. Just this happened just recently. I was at the gym, and I was riding the stationary bike, and there was this girl, this white girl, young, and she looked emo. She had all black on, and it was just, and then she had a backpack. It's like, okay, what are you doing with a backpack? She just looked, you know,
Right.
the profile. It's like, mm,
Right.
little, yeah, she probably was just fine. But I said, I think I'm gonna end my workout a little early because it just looks like one of those people who will just pull something out and
Yeah. You just don't
I,
know.
and see that's sad that I have to feel like that. It just could have been that's what she's wearing, but it
It is.
just because you hear like theaters, people in theaters and stuff. You see, that's the other thing. I go to a theater and I kind of look, where am I sitting? Who's behind me?
Right.
Uh,
Checking out the,
just
I'm checking out the exits I'm checking out the entrances and exits at the movie theater. I mean, seriously.
yeah, you didn't used to have to do that, but there's just been too many crazy incidences. Yes, large crowds. I don't like to be around them too much.
Yeah.
Um,
It's Mexico.
Mexico.
It's Mexico. I always have a disclaimer. I didn't do it this time, but the noise is just another character in the conversation. So,
Yeah, there's lots of noise, and when the holidays come, you have a lot of other. You got church bells ringing, and you have fireworks any time of the year,
that's right.
firecrackers and things like that. So yeah,
So do you think you might pursue getting your residency while you're weighing, the pros and cons? The pros and cons are real. Your father, um,
my
working out.
doggy.
Yeah, your doggy, making some decisions about home. I mean, these are important life decisions that you're weighing in addition to um, your desire to, to create and have, because Mexico really, it's a canvas. It's a beautiful canvas.
Hmm.
And as an artist, it's a delicious place to be. So, weighing those things, the reality of the responsibilities that you have and your loved ones with, with the other part. So
It's
that's the balance.
it is something that I'm thinking more about taking a look at, um, checking out the consulate here in my hometown to see,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one in Sacramento. I don't know. I haven't looked. It's a capital of of
Mm-hmm.
California. So if not, then I'd have to go to the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, somewhere around there. But I think Sacramento has something. But
Mm-hmm.
I just have to check that out, and that would be a nice thing. Um, I will say, when I was in Chapala, I enjoyed being around the community of Black women who live there. It
Yes.
was so much fun. We all got together in one person's home, and we just had conversation, and just asking questions. It was really great. So I enjoyed that. The other thing, I'm not trying to promote somebody else, but the Exodus Summit is where this kind of all started too.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the Exodus Summit 2022, and we had a meetup in Sacramento. And some people
Okay.
came from the Bay Area, people came from Stockton, which is getting towards Central Valley, and there are people in Sacramento. And some of these women have already gone. Some of them, one woman who was from Oakland moved to Panama. And
Uh-huh.
it's like I can get on WhatsApp and just say, "How you doing?" So and so, and so it expanded your friendships worldwide. You just call people. If I want to go to Portugal, I'll go look up Blacks in Portugal and just contact somebody. Hey, I'm coming, and what just ask any questions or have questions. Just people are more than happy to answer, and it's a nice setup. I will say I learned a lot, and that's kind of how I got to you
Yes.
in a
Yes, because
indirect way.
we started our Facebook group Mexodus Sojourners as an outgrowth of the Exodus Summit. I went I went to the summit, the virtual summit. I went in 20. Um, I went to the tail end of it in 20, and then in 2021 we started our own offshoot from it. And I actually moved to Mexico in 2021. I did it really fast, but
Yeah.
The Exodus Summit was a very, it was very instrumental in being with a like-minded group of people. The leadership was great. The information was amazing. And just
Yes.
as you said, the networking and the opportunity to meet other people who are similar, thinking in similar terms, just brilliant women from all around the world who are interested in living all around the world. It's been a wonderful experience.
It has. Met a person at our meetup who retired from Social Security, and she knew everything about. She was an officer, worked with the Social Security office. So we had all kinds of questions to ask her. And
That's
she was
good.
so helpful. And this is free, I mean, well, it's going to be free anyway. But she knew. Sometimes you get a novice that when you call
Yes.
or you have to wait forever. But she's like, call me anytime. Here's my number. And she was a great source of information. So you just meet some great women, nurses, and just people. A lot of them are retiring or have retired. Um, there are some young ones too. There have been a couple young ones. So uh,
I'm finding
that's a
that
help.
there are more and more young people coming. I think the pandemic changed changed the landscape for a lot of us and for many things. It was a whole game changer.
Mhm.
Our lives changed, society changed, and people, had a chance to do some work at home, had a lot of time to think for themselves, away from all the noise, not doing those commutes every day.
Oof.
And people began to think, wait a minute now, there's some other ways that we can do this. Um,
Right.
Prices are getting higher. With the more isolation going on with social media and these devices that we have. I mean, they're wonderful, but they also create some isolation. So it's that the pandemic, I think, set into motion many, many things. We're going to see the effects of that pandemic. Of we don't even know the effects of it, the full effects of it yet.
I agree. I truly agree. So yeah, I retired 2021. So just starting to get out of the pandemic, that's
Hmm.
when I retired. Um, which glad I did.
Yes.
Glad I did because it just got
So,
crazier at work.
do you have any advice for women who are thinking about who are I get a lot of questions about people saying I just don't know what I should do. You know, people make it look so easy, but making these decisions is not all. It's not always easy. It isn't always easy. The reality of our lives is we live complicated lives. We have relationships that we have to filter our decisions through. Um,
Yeah.
you know, what advice would you give someone who may be watching today and listening and thinking, I don't know which way to turn. Am I, what would you suggest to them?
First of all, you just need to visit. Just visit. Don't make that main decision to move. And like as my trips have just been a week. So next
Hmm.
thing I would like to do is try a month. Just see what
Hmm.
it's like for a month. Because then that's a whole different, whole different dynamics. Um, I think you definitely have to visit. You can go to all the YouTube channels and listen to all the people, and you see YouTube channels about what's good about Mexico. Why are people leaving Mexico? And then you get into individual towns. They'll talk about Ajijic. This is not the place to go. And I look at who's saying it
Right.
sometimes. I tend to
Exactly.
like to follow what Black people say. But I listen to both. I listen to white people too, and it's interesting. And I just think you just got to weigh everything out. I've been in a home in a marriage for 28 years. That's a lot of stuff to unpack, to declutter, to if I was to move, it's a lot for me. Now, if you
Hmm.
person who's moved and you don't have a lot of clutter, a lot of stuff you've accumulated, then it may be easier. That might be much easier. But if you, I just don't even want to think about it because it would just be such a monumental task. Um, so you got to look at your own life. How flexible are you? You know, um, I will say for single women, there weren't a lot of men. If you're looking to date and you want to find a Black man in Mexico, mm, so you might have to change your frame of reference, your mindset of who would be of interest to you. That's one thing to
Hmm.
think about. If that is not a big deal for you, then go forth. I think of people who are real tall. Sound a little crazy, but like tall women. Um, People in Mexico tend to be shorter on
Hmm.
an average, and so you're not going to find a lot of tall men. So it's just that's if that's something if that's an issue for you. You just got to look at all your list of this is a non-negotiable. This is a negotiable, and just see if that is the fit for you. But the first thing is visit and try and get away from the resorts. Get an Airbnb somewhere in town, and that's probably the best way to do it. I have lots of friends who've gone to Cancun and Cabo. Now, I have never been to any of those.
Hmm.
But they've been to Cancun and Cabo, and they're like, "Oh, I love it," but that's not real. As I said, it's Disneyland.
Yes.
It's it's Disneyland. So yeah, I'm kind of like a friend of mine when I went to Israel. Her and her husband they got a Airbnb, so that was kind of fun to walk to their place. We stayed in a hotel, but we walked to their place. They had an Airbnb. We were able to do things family style. There was a whole group of
Uh-huh.
us, so we came there, celebrated some birthdays and other things. So it was nice to have a house setting. We all
Yes.
brought some food. And um, hotels are very limiting, but
Yes.
I would definitely suggest like Airbnb, Verbo, whatever process you use. Um, or even if you find a boutique hotel in the city, that can even
Mm-hmm.
be a bed and breakfast. Ah, bed
Mm-hmm.
and breakfast. Who has one of
Bed and
those?
breakfast. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do. We do. Um, let's see what there's anything else I wanted to ask you. I also want to ask you at this point in life, you've been very candid about what you're considering, um, the responsibilities that you have, uh, you know, your art career. Are there any surprises, any pleasant surprises that you weren't expecting at this point in life?
Hmm. Wow, surprises. What surprises? Um, well, I thought I would be traveling a lot more with my mother, but she passed away 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She took me and my sister. She took us on trips with her.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone to Hawaii together. We've gone to Puerto Vallarta. We've gone on a cruise ship, luxury accommodations. And, she thought she was going to live because her mother lived to like 96, 95, 96. And so she thought she would live a long life as well. But she had pancreatic cancer. So that
Mm-hmm.
cut
Mm-hmm.
her life very short at 66.
Yes.
So
Oh, yes.
that's a surprise. That was, I guess you want to say, a surprise. That was not expected. That wasn't the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Never go
Mm-hmm.
by your own plans. That was not the plan. Um, and she traveled a lot. She loved to travel. She really loved to travel. Um, Other surprises, I guess, when I traveled to Chapala, meeting so many Black women, a community of Black women, that was a surprise, a pleasant surprise. Expats, or I don't. I know you said you don't like the term expats. I forgot what the term immigrant,
Yeah, immigrant or
immigrant
incomer. Yeah,
or newcomer. So
incomer. Mm-hmm.
I would. I just like the fact that there were people I could relate to that were there. Um, I felt even comfortable when I went to Teotihuacan, when I went to visit the pyramids. That was a big group, and there were not many people that looked like me that were part of that group. But
Mm-hmm.
it was fun. It was I learned a lot. There are people from actually all over the world, from France, Scotland, England, Australia. So and we came with a community mindset of healing the earth, healing the mother, and
Oh,
there was
beautiful.
a lot of ritual and things like that. And so it was like, oh, being with all these different people, and we had one goal, and humanity as a whole too. So that
Mm-hmm.
was that was I guess that was a surprise that there are people who don't look like me that care about other humans. You just
Yes.
because if you stick to TV and YouTube's, and you listen to the ruckus, the chaos. They're fear mongering. They're pushing what they call race baiting
Absolutely.
and all that other stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I would agree with all that. I need to put in a disclaimer about Chapala because I'm hearing a lot about this is a community of old women. Now, there are a lot of mature women here, but there are also husbands and there are also some single men. The single men are not in the same number as women. That is very true. But I'm
hmm
also seeing that there are some younger couples that are coming, and there are families that are coming into the area.
okay.
For those of you who are looking, where dating is very high on your list, we're close to Guadalajara. That's a very large city. Mexico City. There are large cities in Chapala, which I mean in Mexico with a larger population of people. There are black men in these cities as well. And there are, a larger number of people. There are taller people in some of these cities too. So, um, but we are in Mexico, and the indigenous community. of people are they're smaller.
Yeah.
They are smaller. Just smaller, and they're shaped a little bit differently than we are. So um, I don't do a lot of local shopping here. I'll go to the larger cities, or I'll bring clothes with me from home. But Guadalajara has all of your major big box stores, all your luxury brand stores. So anything that you're looking for, you can buy there. But Chapala and these smaller Mexican towns they're Mexican villages. People are working class, fishermen, mechanics, laborers.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so
Shop owners.
shop owners. So but whatever you're looking for, wherever you're looking for, if you have an open mind, you're always going to find what you're looking for. Which brings me back to your statement, Yana, about your vibration. Whatever vibration you have is whatever vibration we're going to attract. And I love that you said that. It's so true.
True. That
I
is
know
so true.
that as a visual artist, I know, first of all, I love your work. I know that you have some things coming up. You've got something coming up on July 27th. Can you tell us about that? That's coming up this weekend.
Sure. It's local, it's in person, which I haven't, when I started doing these classes, I was trained under a program called Intentional Creativity. So it's working with people to put their, I would say, put their insides on paper and canvas. So basically, whatever's going on with you, uh, you intentionally want to do that, draw and so forth. But so you're not drawing it's not a paint and sip. You're not drawing real life things. You're taking things, and it's interpretive
Okay.
art. It's I guess it would be abstract in a sense, but it's for you. It's not so much product, it's process. That's the main thing. So if you're going to just froze. If you put it on canvas or paper, you can you're releasing some things. It's another way of release. Um, so I'm doing that. Let's see if I can show a little picture of my. It's a creative healing journey. I don't know if people can see that. Oops.
Oh, yes, lovely.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
And
Is that
so
your art? Is that
that's
your artwork on the cover? Is that your artwork on the cover?
yeah, it is. It is the artwork. It's a part. It was what I do. I also have people take pictures at different stages of their artwork. So this is not the finished stage. This was one stage, but I kind of like that. So that's why I like to also take pictures at different stages. I may like this stage, but if I keep on moving, that stage is gone unless I record
Mm-hmm.
it, take a picture of it. So it looks totally different. I don't think I have a picture of what it looks like now. I fixed it up. So this is kind of a beginning, and this is where
Mm.
we'll start and end with the class that I'm going to teach. It's called A Creative Healing Journey with the Muse, and the Muse is your inner, the inside of you that wants to be wild and wants to be creative and wants to explore and be adventurous. That's the part of you. So we talk a little bit about the muse and the critic. The critic is another side of you that's more logical, wants to stay in boundaries, and um,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually the voice of authority in your head. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing. It's tend to be more structured, form and structure, whereas the muse is more flowing and connective, and so it's two different things, but we meld them together because you do have there's journaling. We also journal in this class as well as paint, draw, do some metacognitive drawing. Maybe one class we could do a metacognitive drawing with the audience. Very
That would be
simple, very simple.
that'd be
Um,
beautiful.
it's, so that's what the class is about, and it's in Rancho Cordova, which is a small city outside of Sacramento. And then in September 8th, I'm doing the similar class, but it's going to be online.
Okay.
And if you're interested, um, my email is enough, the word enough, ENOUGH, the number two, BEME at
Let me,
gmail.com. So that's
I'm gonna
enough
see if I can
to,
I'm gonna see if I can put it out here for a minute. Let me try.
Okay.
Go ahead and say it
So
again.
that one, enough, the number two,
Mm-hmm.
BEME, be me, at gmail.com. So if you're interested and you're watching this video, that will be September 8th. You can um, definitely send me an email and I can respond to where you need to go to get more information and send you more information. So we're virtual classes. I have been able to do some
Okay, I'm
virtual
gonna.
classes. They're fun. I don't know if anything popped up. Um,
It hasn't
so,
popped up yet. There it is.
and there's some
Oh,
other.
I spelled it wrong. Hold on.
Oh no!
I spelled it wrong. Yeah, hold on. Let me correct that. Hold on. Okay.
So I'm excited about doing this in person, but then also online because we don't know. I may get people from the East Coast. I may get people from another country. You never know, and that
Is
can be
there
fun. That can be fun also.
is there
But
a limit?
technology,
Is there a limit to
that's a good question.
participants?
I'm I don't know because I'm partnering with somebody who's actually has the Zoom link and set up
Oh gosh, I
at
did. I'm sorry.
gmail.com.
I know y'all. Look. Okay, we're the third time is the charm. Third time.
Enough to be
Third
me
time
at
at Gmail.
.com.
Okay, hold on. Let's try it now. Let's try it. Third time's the charm. Fingers
It'll
crossed.
come. Enough to be me at gmail.com. Yes, that's it.
All right, very good, very good. Well,
And I guess if you send me something in the subject matter, just put mind and manna. Then I'll know that you saw this and recording and I can respond. And thanks,
yes,
Sonia.
yes. If you're interested in taking Yana's class, please do reach out to her at enough2be me at gmail.com. It's going to be a wonderful class. She's an amazing artist. And I just love the intuitive aspect of what you're doing, giving people a chance
Let me
to.
let me interrupt real quick. People can they don't have to be at any of these classes. I also do coaching on one-to-one with intuitive creativity. So if you don't want to be in a class and you'd like to just, you know, get some things out, we can do this one-on-one as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So reach out to her at enough2be me at gmail.com. Yannah Evans. Um, well worth your time. Uh, I,
Mm,
I, I appreciate you being so open and vulnerable tonight about the topic of having ambivalence, about making these decisions, making these choices. I want to reiterate your suggestion that people get boots on the ground. This, if you're thinking about this, you've got to get your feet where it is that you're thinking about going. I also love what Yana said about um, you've got to spend enough time there to kind of get a sense, and you have to be there long enough to unhook from your regular routine so you can have a sense of what it's going to be like. If you're used to, and I always say, if you're used to taking a week, take 2 or 3 weeks. If you're used to taking 2 or 3 weeks off, then take a month off. You've got to be able to unplug from what you know to be familiar so that you can experience something different. We are unconsciously programmed to be rats in the maze in US
right.
culture. It's grind culture, it's hustle culture
It
all the
is.
time.
It is.
And it takes a while, number one, to recognize how caught up we have been in it. And it also takes a little time to be able to see ourselves and to experience something new. So do that gift for yourself. Give yourself some time. Ambivalence is perfectly normal. It's a part of the human experience. It means that you care deeply about your life and your loved ones in order to be able to make decisions and to consider the decisions that you filter them through. It's a process. Be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself, and know that it's part of what has to be done.
Yes.
In the comments, please let us know. Please comment on tonight's show. And if you catch us on the replay, let us know that this is the replay and that you're commenting from the replay. And again, check out Yannah's information. Reach out to her for coaching. If you can be in the Sacramento area on this coming weekend, check out her class and certainly reach out to her for her online information as well. It has just been a pleasure having you here. I
Thank
just
you.
love
I
you so
enjoyed
much.
it.
And I thank you so much for being willing. I'm just going to ask you to sit just for a few moments
Okay.
after we end the stream. And I just want to thank you again. And you're welcome. You are welcome back anytime.
We're going to do a metacognitive drawing next time because I'll have my gear so you can see me drawing. People can follow along. We're going to have fun. Yeah, we'll
Let's
do a
do
fun
it.
activity. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So we will schedule that soon. Thank you again so very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.